When my son Peter went missing, I found him in jail. He had been jailed for missing court for a paper arrest I knew nothing about. I was shocked when I saw these words on the first page of the police report. It didn't make any sense at all. I am going to share some information that will explain this behavior. By the end of this video, you will understand the importance of knowing. Peter hears voices. Some are supportive of him. At other times, he is told to kill. Twice that I know of, he plotted to kill me. For years, Peter did not know where I lived. I went to his home to bring supplies and ensure he was okay. Besides that problem, a lack of insight blocks his ability to care for himself. Medication can't help with that. We live together now because Haldol stops the voices from controlling him. In 2008, Peter's court-ordered treatment was not being continued. I did a small protest because I was terrified. A news cameraman showed up, and according to Peter's caseworker, that scared the agency. The story never aired, but Peter's court order was continued. The photo is Peter's sister and her cousin. After nearly 10 years of struggle, for an extended period of time, Peter was doing so well he was transferred out of the intensive recovery unit. I don't know what the doctor told him, but he came home shining with pride and excited about a new life. Peter was dedicated to the medication schedule. Once I came upon him looking at an opened noon box. He said he was sure he already took them. I told him when you do something multiple times a day, day after day, month after month, there are too many memories. If the pills are in the box, you did not take them. After a few moments, he said, "Okay to be safe," and he took the pills. Peter decided to move to a new agency because it was closer to home. His new caseworker told me his new NP didn't like his med combo, and she was going to change it. She said the NP's med combo works for everyone. I told the 20-something NP Peter's history. When Peter came home from his first med appointment, he told me the meds were not changed, but she did change them without telling him. That included abruptly stopping the antipsychotic Haldol. Peter remained dedicated to the medication schedule. When he wrapped a bowl of change in a towel and put it outside, I compared the medication combos. What I had to say was ignored by the NP, caseworker, and management. Before too long, Peter saw me as the enemy again. Without me knowing, Peter took the bus to the hospital. Once I found him, I dropped off a letter explaining the abrupt change of medication and his history. Days later, he came home still with the new NP's med combo and clinging to a journal. He'd open the journal, write a minute, and then cling it to his chest again as he stared into space. Someone must have told him writing in the journal would help him get stable. Here is some of what he wrote in the journal. 2 Secret Service agents came to our home to discuss Peter writing "Kill Obama." They told us that it was now a felony for Peter to attempt to get a gun. Peter has never shown any interest in politics or guns. Not long after the hospital stay, Peter began laying in the dirt for hours every day, staring into space, often with a tortured look on his face. Most times he refused to speak. Other times he'd growl something at me like, "Why are you even talking to me?" The NP and caseworker believed Peter needed to use the agency's employment services to get a job. Then he'd gain self-esteem. To them, Peter was the failure for not doing that, and it was my fault that he was dependent on me. This blog chronicles this agency-produced travesty that destroyed Peter's stability, and thus the new life he was so excited to start never started. This letter has direct relevance to the police report I am about to go over. Sometime in March 2014, a man named Jose moved into my son's RV and took over. He took Peter's phone, his prepaid bus card, his new shoes. He ate the food. He emptied the top dresser drawer for his things. I found his full name by going through his bags. Jose told me Peter had adopted him, and as his father, it was Peter's job to take care of him now. Jose said I wasn't Peter's real mother. I asked Peter to tell Jose I was his mother. Peter raged, "You are not my mother!" I'd seen Peter cowered on his bed. The raging I knew, but he never cowered before. That, and the fact the trailer was extremely clean and organized, I concluded Jose was abusing him. I had to get Jose out. I sent the letter to Jose's P.O. in hopes she could help me get him out. A few days later she called. She said she had been looking for him. About an hour later I met two men outside the trailer. They went in with guns drawn and took him away. On that day Peter was still in jail for the failure to appear. Now, on to the police report. In search of a witness, the policeman knocked on this door. The man inside said that he saw a man in front of his yard, which was Peter. The man said he was acting strange. He was walking around talking to himself. He saw Peter go into the yard across the street. A woman and two children watched Peter from their living room window. He was not wearing a shirt. No one said there was eye contact with him. He pulled down his shorts, but not his boxers. Then he pulled his shorts up. While that is bizarre behavior, it is not a crime. Again, no one said there was eye contact with Peter. He left their yard talking to himself and walked up to the wall by the stop sign. I know that's the stop sign because there is no stop sign going south on Olive Road. When Peter got to the wall, he pulled down both his boxers and shorts. Then moments later he pulled them up. That was the sexual assault. The boy said he was peeing on the wall. What body parts the boy saw is not in the report. The girl said it looked like he was peeing on the wall. She said she saw his penis. She said she had not seen a penis before. The girl translated for her mother and the policeman. Regarding the mother, the report states from where she was in the living room, she saw all of his genitals, including his penis. Look at that line of sight. If she backed away from the window, she would not see the wall down the street, so she had to be at the window. And with that line of sight, every place in that window would show the same thing. That statement cannot be true, and it is not a typing error. It is a lie, and that lie is the only statement in the report that is a crime. Peter was framed. Why? Because 3 counts of a sex crime is good for an officer's statistics, and he knew he could get away with it. The woman called 911. The policeman found Peter on the corner across the street from where he urinated. Of course, the woman and children could no longer see him. His shirt, socks, and a bag of change were scattered on the sidewalk. He had his shorts pulled down below his boxers. Peter said he took a plea to get out of jail. We went over the police report. In anger, he said, "That's a lie." He said there were no people except for the policeman. He told me the Supreme Being never told him to pull down his boxers, only his shorts. He said the Supreme Being was giving him things to do so he could get to a higher rank. Peter did not recall he urinated or ever left the corner. In the report it states he finally admitted to going there, but he really didn't recall that. Since the family did not say he was carrying a shirt, bag, and socks, he must have left them on the corner while he searched for a place to urinate without realizing he was doing that. He said the Supreme Being had him hold 2 feathers. Peter went on and on about how the feathers glowed a beautiful blue that he had never seen before. He was not only hearing a voice, he was seeing things. I asked what happened after that, and he said the police came. On March 21st, 2014, Peter was wandering the streets delusional. He was fleeing abuse, and a policeman framed him for a sex crime. I worried this arrest would hurt him in the future, and 4 years later, it did. In 2018, 9 policemen came to our home to address a simple 911 call. This time, I was a witness. The arresting officer got close to Peter's face and screamed as loud as he could, "Stop showing your penis to children!" A few days later, 2 neighbors told me, for that many policemen to show up at one time, it meant Peter did something horrible in the past. Nothing I had to say would change their mind. The 2014 fake sexual assault charge is why, in 2018, 8 additional officers took the time to show up for a simple 911 call. They were in a state of confirmation bias. The arresting officer overtly lied on the report, and once I went through the court system, I understood why he did not need to conceal his lies. I know only those who have been framed and railroaded through court would believe Peter was framed for a sex crime twice. Everyone else would say I was a mother in denial. Proof of his innocence just doesn't matter, so I suffer in silence. With this police record, Peter will be shunned for things he did not do. What landlord would rent to him? And if one would, the community would be told, keep away from him, he is a sex offender. Peter is already isolated because of his brain malfunction. It is so unjust to add fake claims to an already lonely and difficult life. The police report will verify my description in this video is accurate. Peter says he is not allowed to tell people about the Supreme Being. You will see that in the report. I was able to convince him it was safe to tell me. After the report, you will learn about the 2018 police framing and court railroading.